Hello everyone, welcome to Everyday Essential series of Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy, where we are going to discuss the important topics from the Hindu and the Indian Express and all other government sources, especially in terms of the prelims perspective. So today, let's see the topics of 7th August 2025. In this video, first we are going to discuss about the INF treaty and second about the HFMD, that is the hand, foot and mouth disease, and third about the UNHCR, and fourth about the INS Guldar, and finally African country mapping, that is the Mozambique. So we started mapping countries of this first African continent. First, we dealt with the South Africa. Second, its neighbor Namibia. Third, Botswana. Fourth, that is yesterday's Zimbabwe. And now we are going to deal with the Mozambique country. So starting with the first topic, that is the INF treaty. So what is this INF treaty and why we are discussing that? So the Russia has announced that it is leaving this INF treaty, which stands for Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. It was announced on August 4, 2025. So let's see what is this treaty is all about. So this INF treaty is an arms control treaty. Arms control treaty which was signed by the United States and the then Soviet Union on 8th December 1987. And it came into force, that is, the both countries ratified it on the 1st June 1988, this treaty. And who signed this treaty? Those are the counterparts of this United States President Ronald Reagan and the General Secretary, that is the Mikhail Gorbachev of the then Soviet Union. So what is the purpose of this treaty? That is to ban or to reduce or to eliminate both the country's nuclear as well as the conventional ground launched ballistic as well as the cruise missiles. So the both countries, as part of this treaty, so United States and the Soviet Union has to ban or eliminate or destroy their nuclear and the conventional ground launched both missiles, that is the ballistic missiles as well as the cruise missiles. So your homework today, learn the difference between the ballistic and the cruise missiles. And those missiles which are in the range of 500 to 5,500 kilometers. So as part of this treaty, and the treaty also gave a deadline, that is of the 1st June 1991. So as part of this treaty, both countries destroyed 2,692 short, medium and the intermediate range missiles as of 1st June 1991, mostly consisting of the Soviet Union only. But the United States has alleged that Russia has been violating this treaty and it included the procurement or the establishment of this missile. So citing the allegations of this Russia, United States during the President Trump only withdrawn from this INF treaty on formally withdrawn from 2nd August 2019. And citing the conflict of words between the Dmitry Medvedev and the US President Donald Trump regarding the position of the nuclear submarines. War of words between this person and the United States President. So this Russia also announced its withdrawal from this INF treaty on this 4th August 2025. So now this treaty is no more valid as both the countries, United States and the Russia, has been announced their withdrawals from this INF treaty. Now moving to a second topic, that is the hand, foot and the mouth disease. So why we are discussing this? See, some incidents of this hand, foot and mouth disease was observed in children in the schools in the capital of India, that is the New Delhi. So regarding that, the Department of School Education and Literacy has announced that the schools, whoever has witnessed or whoever has experiencing this disease in the children, should take measures of isolating the children from other students. So let's see what is this disease all about. So this is a contagious viral infection. Contagious. That means it will spread from person to person. So that's why the Department of School Education and Literacy has told the school management to isolate the students who are suffering from this disease. This is common in children mostly under the 5, under age of 5. And next, this is caused by the Coxsackie virus A16, the Coxsackie virus A6, and also the entinovirus 71. Its symptoms include mild fever, sore throat, runny nose, stomachache also, loss of appetite, and also the most common visible symptoms are the itchy rashes and the swollen lymph nodes on the neck. See, you can see foot, the itchy rashes on the foot, mouth, and also the hand. So that's why this is known as the hand, foot, and the mouth disease. If untreated, these are the most visible symptoms of this disease. And coming to the transmission, yes, it will transmit from person to person. How? Through the direct contact with the unwashed hands or the surface contaminated with the feces, person's saliva, stool, or the respiratory secretions, whoever infected with this virus. So what is the treatment available for this hand, foot, and the mouth disease? There is no particular specific medications to treat this hand, foot, and the mouth disease. But this disease can be treated with the anti-allergic drugs. The best way is to prevent the disease first of all. So this can be prevented by frequent hand washing and also avoiding close contact with the infected children. So this is about the hand, foot, and the mouth disease, which is a contagious viral disease. Remember, contagious viral disease. Third comes the UNHCR, that is the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. So why we are discussing this now? See, the Pakistan has given a deadline of September 1st, 2025 to leave all the illegal Afghans from the land of Pakistan. But what it is doing, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees has observed that it had received reports of arrest and the expulsions of legally registered Afghans. See, legally registered Afghans across the country before Pakistan September 1 deadline for them to leave. And the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees also said that the sending the Afghans back in this way was a breach of the Pakistan's international obligations. The UNHCR is calling on the government to stop the forcible return and adopt a human approach to ensure voluntary, gradual, and dignified return of the Afghan. So this was observed by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees regarding the Pakistan's attempt to deport the legally registered Afghans from the land even before the deadline, that is the September 1st. So we'll see what is this UNHCR. So UNHCR means it stands for the United Nations High Commissioner for the Refugees, popularly known as the UN Refugee Agency. So it was formed aftermath of the Second World War. In the December 1950, the purpose is to help the millions of Europeans. See, after the World War II or during the World War II, many Europeans have fled their countries and lost their homes. So to help the millions of Europeans who fled their countries or lost their homes, this United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees was formed formally on December 1950. And at the time, this agency was given the deadline of 3 years. So by 1953, you have to help these millions of Europeans who have fled there or lost their homes and then disband this UNHCR. But it was continued, and in the year 2003, United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution that giving the permanent mandate. Permanent mandate. That means it gave the mandate to continue this UNHCR, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, until it solves the problem of the refugees. So it is not a temporary one. It will exist permanently. That was given in the year 2003 through the UNGA resolution, and it is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. Now it works in the 137 countries, and it is directed by the High Commissioner. The High Commissioner is elected by the United Nations General Assembly for a period of 5-year term. Remember, the High Commissioner is elected by the United Nations General Assembly for a 5-year period. So now let's see the background of this evolution of this HCR. So how did it come into effect and what are other contributions or the achievements of this UNHCR till now? See, after the World War I, we have this League of Nations, right? So in 1921 only, the first High Commissioner for Refugees was appointed by this League of Nations to look into the problems of refugees. In 1922, after the appointment of this, 1 year after the appointment of this High Commissioner for Refugees by the League of Nations, they issued the issue of non-sent passport to refugees. Non-sent passport means they found that the refugees who fled their countries, they lack a valid legal document, so they issued the non-sent passport to refugees. And in the year 1945, International Refugee Organization was formed. International Refugee Organization was formed to help 1 million refugees who have fled the Europe or the Europe. Mainly it focused on the Europe only at that time. And then in 1948, we all know that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights have established. And in that, Article 14, Clause 1 says that everyone has the right to seek and to enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. So, this Article 14 indirectly deals with the refugees, refugee rights. So, as part or in alignment with this 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights and after the Second World War, 1950 December, UNHCR, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees was formed officially. And in the year 1951, they adopted this 1951 Refugee Convention, which defined the term refugee and the scope and the jurisdiction also. So under this refugee convention, they define the refugees as whoever crossed this Europe before the 1st January 1951. And next, in the year 1955, this UNHCR has awarded this Nobel Peace Prize of 1954, and it received this peace prize in the year 1954, and it is the first UN agency. UNHCR is the first UN agency to receive this Nobel Peace Prize for their contributions or for their work towards the helping the refugees. And in 1956, Hungarian uprising, we witnessed the Hungarian uprising, and in that it helped the more than 2 lakh people, refugees. And in 1957, this UNHCR till now it focused only on the Europe refugees only. But in 1957, it involved first time in the African continent refugees, that is during the Algerian War of Independence. During the Algerian War of Independence, many people from this Algeria fled their country. So that's how they became the refugees. And that's how it stepped into the other continent apart from the Europe in 1957. And in 1967 protocol has come into force to amend this 1951 convention. So what are the amendments? In that it said that the protection to all refugees, remember all refugees, no matter the date they were forced to leave their homes. So in 1951 refugee convention, we have a deadline of date where when they have left this country, so then only they, according to that date only, they have been considered as the refugees. But due to this 1967 protocol, they amended this convention and included no matter on which date they were forced to leave their countries, but this UNHCR is mandated to protect all the refugees who have left their homes. And in 1980s, it involved first time in the Central American civil wars. of Nicaragua, El Salvador, and the Guatemala. And see, in the year 1981, it was awarded second Nobel Peace Prize, and it is the only agency to receive this Nobel Peace Prize twice. Remember, twice. And in the year 2003, it was given a permanent mandate. So before this 2003, this UNHCR mandate was renewed for years. Okay, you have to operate for this time, this many years, this many years. But in the year 2003, the permanent mandate was given. It was given to solve the problems of refugees till the refugee problems exist. So this is all about the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. Now moving to a fourth topic, that is the INS Guldar. So it is actually a ex-INS. It was decommissioned. So why we are discussing now? The Indian Navy has recently transferred this ex-INS Guldar, which is a decommissioned land ship tank medium range, to the Maharashtra Tourism Development Corporation Limited. So this initiative marks a pioneering effort in India to convert a retired naval vessel into an underwater museum and the artificial reef. So it is a medium range landing ship tank. So after its decommission, this was transferred to the Maharashtra Tourism Development Corporation Limited. Why? There was a plan to convert this INS Guldar into the artificial reef. Artificial reef and a underwater museum. If this is successful, it is going to be the India's first artificial reef and the underwater museum. So now first deal with what is this INS Gulda. So initially it was built at the Poland's Dinar shipyard, and it was commissioned into the Indian Navy in the year 1985 into the Eastern Naval Command fleet, that is in the Visakhapatnam port. And later it served in the Andaman and Nicobar Command until 2024, till its decommission. That is, it was decommissioned on 12th January 2024 due to its outdated nature. And it is a Kumbhir class landing ship. It took very ambitious warfare and the beach landings also. This INS Guldar was a part of India's peacekeeping mission in Sri Lanka also. It also participated in the LTT civil uprising and all other operations. So this is about the INS Guldar. Now let's see about this project. So it will become the India's first underwater museum and the artificial reef. So what is the project means? This INS Guldar will be scuttled. That means it will be allowed to settle deep down in the seabed. And this scuttling process will be taken over by the Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited. So where it is going to be situated? That is at the Vijayadurg Port, Malwan and the Tharkali beaches, Sindhudurg district of Maharashtra state. And the project cost is estimated of 78 crore. And in that 60% will be borne by the center and the 40% by the state government. See the plan. Once the ship is submerged, this will sit on the seabed around 15 km off the coast of Sindhudurg, that is at the Malvan and the Tharkali beaches. So the ship will sit in the seabed around the 15 km off the coast of Sindhudurg. So after its submergence, they will allow this artificial reef establishment. Artificial reefs will be established on this INS Guldar, and then the scuba divers will be allowed to dive down where the ship is. And in this scuba divers also, the non-certified divers can go to a depth of 12 meters, and the certified divers can go to up to a depth of 18 meters, and the advanced divers can go to the deepest part of the ship also, and the non-divers can opt for a submarine ride to view the shipwreck with the artificial reef. So with this, it will boost the tourism in the Maharashtra state, and it will also become India's first underwater museum and the artificial reef. Now coming to a final topic, that is the Mozambique. So this is Mozambique in the southeast part of the African continent, which is separated by the Mozambique Channel with the Madagascar. It has maritime border of Indian Ocean here. And next, it is a country in the Southeast Africa. Its capital is Maputo. You can see its boundaries here. See, Eswatini here. Next, it is the South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, and its northern border include the Tanzania. And here it is the Mozambique Channel, which separates the African continent with this Madagascar. And here it is the Indo-Indian Ocean. And this will also pass, and Tropic of Cancer also pass through this Mozambique. So till now we have discussed with these 5 countries in the African continent, and out of these 5 countries, out in these 4 countries, this Tropic of Cancer will pass through. That is except this Zimbabwe. And coming to the official language, Portuguese is the official language of this Mozambique, and the major rivers include Rovuma, Zambezi, Maputo, Savi, Komiti, Buzi, and the Limpopo rivers. And coming to the lakes, lakes are the Nyasa, Chiuta, Chilwa, and the Malawi. So these are the some geographical features of this Mozambique, which is a Southeast African country. So here you can see Lake Chilwa, Lake Nyasa here, Zambezi, Savi River, Buzi River, and also the Limpopo River, Chi River. So that's all for today. Thank you.